right. So, when we left,
Sorry,
when
Nitu,
we-
I'm
no,
trying to do
okay.
it on my laptop. Yeah.
So when we were, the last time, which is more than a month ago now, right? When we had our last session.
Yeah.
So what we had started doing was we had kind of gone back and started reviewing Gita, chapter 1, chapter 2, and all that. And I liked the format that we had, which was all of you spoke and talked about your understanding. and then we kind of discussed it from there. So in the first session, if you remember, we talked about, of this review session, we talked about readiness. What does it mean to be ready? And how, Arjun had to be ready before Gita could be started. And then in the second session, we talked about knowledge, Gyan. What is Gyan? And there's interesting discussions we had. And that was because the first half of the second chapter is a summary of the Gyan Yoga, you could say. That may be Paula. Hello.
Hello. Sorry
Hi.
for the.
Hello.
We're just getting started.
Okay.
You joined at the right time.
Thank you.
So you're just saying that, and Paula, by the way, I have to introduce Kiki to you. There's one more person who's joined. She's my sister.
Hi, Paula.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah. So she knows all of us here, but I don't think you guys have met.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So
Nice to meet you.
so we were talking about, we were like going back and doing an overview of the different topics of Gita. And in the first two sessions ago, we talked about readiness. What does it mean to be ready? The last session, we talked about knowledge. What does knowledge mean? And we all kind of shared our perspective. So, and the chapter 2 is actually, you can think about it in two parts. The first half of chapter 2 is all about knowledge and Gyan. The second half of chapter 2 is about Karma Yoga, which is a particular technique, for a preparatory technique, which Gita has, sort of really honed in on and has elaborated on and, focused on in a way, made it popular. It's been there always, but Gita kind of put it on the map for all of us. So this session, I was thinking we'll just talk about an overview of what Karma Yoga is. Unless you have any other question or anything else from the last time that you want to bring up, or on knowledge or anything else. If not, then if you don't have a question, then you're on the spot to talk one by one in clockwise order from the top.
No.
Oh, you're on the top, Mukta?
No, I am the last one.
I see.
I'm just
For me,
still getting back to Delhi.
No, there is no slack being cut for visitors from, people who had a nice time in the UK and enjoyed themselves, and everybody else has been sweltering in the monsoons. We don't cut any slack for these people. So, but for me, the top on the clockwise thing is Sanjay.
Sanjay.
Yeah, so we can start with Sanjay.
No. What should I talk on?
You tell us what is your interpretation, your understanding of Karma Yoga as we've learned it in the Gita. What is, how do you see it? Just anything which comes to your mind. Don't worry, just a few minutes.
My understanding of Karma Yoga, what we have been taught and what we have been reading is, you are just an instrument of doing the Karma. You see, we have to give all the credit to the Almighty or to the Brahman. We are just an instrument to do what he says and the karma.
Yes.
We don't take the credit on our own. We give the credit to Brahman for whatever we are doing, and we are not expecting any fruits from that karma. We are offering all the fruits to Paramatma or Brahman for whatever fruits we are reaping.
Yeah.
The guiding light is Paramatma. The actions are done by us as an instrument. And whatever we are reaping, the fruits are the result of his blessings and grace. That is my understanding of karma. That is how it should be done, according to Gita and according to all the teachings and everything. The credit, we are not supposed to take the credit.
Yeah. I think that is spot on. So it's
So with that intention, if we do our daily activities and the karma, so that will make us grow spiritually, and we'll be more fulfilled and more happier and more content with anything we do.
Yes. So the two things which Vedanta emphasizes about Karma Yoga is just exactly what you said. One is called Ishwar Arpan Buddhi. That
Ishwar
means
Arpan.
whatever you're doing, you are doing as an instrument of God. It's, you're doing for God, as an instrument of God and for God. And the other one is called Prasad Buddhi, which is all the fruits are also to be given as prasad to God. They are like God ke prasad hai, so you accept them as they are. You're not, So it's a very, very much try to. So that is very, very, from what the way Gita has described Karma Yoga, or the way Vedanta describes Karma Yoga, that is very much the mechanics of Karma Yoga. And yes, by doing Karma Yoga, like you said, the idea is that you get contentment and you get more peace in your life. Okay, so we can move on. The next one on my screen is Atul. So it's in that order: Sanjay, Atul, Paula, Kiki, and Mukta. Just so you guys know when your term is coming. Mukta is getting all nervous over there, so I just want to make sure she's not.
तब तक सबने बता दिया होगा.
You can summarize.
You can summarize. Yeah.
The question is, what is Karma Yoga as we see it, as I see
You
it?
see it.
But Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga, yeah.
So the way I would describe it is that whatever you're trying to achieve, in other words, destination can be subjective to your own personal desire and need. Whatever you're trying to achieve, you achieve that through effort or work, whatever that might be, appropriate work. So that's how I see it, Karma Yoga.
No, but got to go a little bit more than that. That is, you don't need a lot of Vedantic insight for that. You do work to achieve to achieve a result, whatever that result is. Okay, but
what?
आगे भी तो बताओ कुछ. That's not fair. You not come back from the UK. You can.
I actually landed in Reno only at 7 hours ago at 2 a.m. So.
You don't sleep anyway.
Yeah. और क्या बताएं यार? This is that's the headline.
So okay, so what has Gita taught you about Karma Yoga, or the class that you've been auditing? You've been hearing about it from the Gita and all. What has it said about Karma Yoga that you didn't know before, for example, or which emphasized what you already knew?
Pretty much what I said. Or let's put it this way. I'm going to turn it back to you. Before these sessions, I probably would have taken half hour to describe it. I think Gita helped me consolidate it into just one sentence. So Gita helped me to.
So from your perspective, the way you see Karma Yoga is for you particularly, you have an objective, and trying to reach that objective through effort is Karma Yoga.
Yeah. and this may be a learning yet to happen, because when I'm talking about karma yoga, I'm also thinking about bhakti yoga, the other side.
Okay. Yeah.
So in other words, when I think of karma yoga, I'm actually thinking of physical effort, going from this room to that room, as opposed to meditation.
Actually, in Gita, when they talk about Karma Yoga, they include everything. They
Yeah,
talk
that's
about
what I said, that this could be a learning that is yet to happen.
Depends. Different people see it differently, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm still at the point where I'm making a distinction between mental thing, aankhein band karke you kind of meditate, versus physical something.
So do you think that what is the reason? What is the intention of Karma Yoga? Why is it there?
To keep us busy.
So there's a difference between Karam and Karma Yoga, right? Or there is no difference?
I think there is a difference. I mean, in other words, you could have idle work. You could be, wasting time and spinning wheels, kind of a thing. Whereas Karma Yoga would mean that there is an intention, there is there is some progress happening. I mean, I think intention would probably be the biggest differentiator.
Okay, I think that's actually very good.
I just want to put a word on it. कि कर्म आप कर रहे हो सोते सोते, कर्म योग आप कर रहे हो जब आप जाग चुके हो.
Yeah, but jagte hue bhi, when you're awake, you could still be spinning.
You're awake and
He's talking
aware.
metaphorically. Sona.
Metaphorically, yeah. Dheeraj got it. Dheeraj knows what I mean.
No. He also he's thinking. अभी इसके चक्कर चल रहे हैं दिमाग में.
चल रहे हैं, हाँ.
I'm doing my karma yoga.
So that is one metaphor which has really struck me. कि कर्म तो सारी दुनिया कर रही होती है, पर वो जागे नहीं होते, वो अवेयर नहीं होते, वो इंटेंशन नहीं होती, वो फीलिंग नहीं होती, वो भावना नहीं होती अंदर. और जब आप वो इतने अवेयर हो जाते हो, तब आपका वो जो कर्म योग वो सामने आता है.
But isn't the ultimate state of this karma yoga where you do it effortlessly? So even though karma yoga is about effort, but you do it in a manner that it feels as if it's
spontaneous.
There is no other.
Any work, I think any work which you enjoy and you get so much fulfillment, it will become effortless.
No, that's my point.
Anything you enjoy becomes effortless.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the point I'm making. That even though I define it as it's intentional and there's effort, but the attainment of the ultimate state of karma yoga would be where it's no longer an effort, as defined by.
So I mean, like, that's the attainment of the ultimate state of the pursuit. But let me just get back to your thing, because the way that you're saying it's a question of intention, right? We are doing effort. The difference between Karam and Karam Yoga is, Karam is you can do wasted effort. And in the case of Karam Yoga, there's a very clear intention, right? That's what you were saying, Atul?
Yeah.
And everything you do is aligned to that intention, or is guided by that intention. It's trying to meet that intention. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you like, or am I paraphrasing it wrong?
No. I mean, for that purpose, yes, I think that's correct. But you could be multitasking,
Yeah, you could be multitasking, but there's an overarching intention. Like, I mean, I'm sure in your life too, there may be, there are levels. There's an overarching intention, but you have to eat also, so that's multitasking.
Yeah.
Eating.
Yeah. I mean, that was the point that. I was being a little lawyerly.
So I think the way that, because that's a very important point of Karam Yoga, because when there is no difference between Karam and Karam Yoga in terms of daily activities. Like, a person who's a Karam Yogi will also be doing the same things that a person who's not a Karam Yogi will be doing. The difference is in the intention. So when your intention is to is to kind of, my intention is I want to write a book, or I want a promotion. Something which is material, something which you think is based on a material desire, then that is karma. And if you follow that intention and do it without any wasted effort, then you are a very efficient karma. You will actually maybe meet your intention better, conserve energies, feel good about yourself, all that. The difference is in Karam Yoga, there is very clear intention, and the intention is nothing to do with the material aspects. The intention of a Karam Yogi is purification of the mind, Antakarma Shuddhi. And that too is a subsidiary intention. It's the first stop. The actual intention is knowledge, Gyan. So if your intention is, I have to get Gyan, I have to get knowledge, and we are talking about Vedanta, so we are talking about Vedantic Gyan and Vedantic knowledge, right? If that is a very clear intention, then everything that you do will line itself behind that intention. If the path is clear to you, and you will become a Karam Yogi. Now there are mechanisms for how to make it easier for you to line it up. So Gita will give you recommendations. One recommendation is to make it easier for you, because you still consider yourself as an individual, a separate human being, and you may have a belief in God, Ishwar. Then leverage that Ishwar to become a Karam Yogi. Leverage that Ishwar, because then you can say, I will gladly accept that everything I do is for that Ishwar. And everything I get is from that Ishwar, for that Ishwar. You build on that relationship that you have with Ishwar in order to help you do the things that a Karam Yogi needs to do, right? So it's like training wheels in a way. It makes it easier. If you already have a belief in God, it makes it easier for you to become a Karam Yogi. But the central point is that there is an intention. That intention you will never lose. The intention is, I need to understand myself. I need to know who I am. And you also know that this is not an easy exercise to understand who we are. So you require some clarity of mind, you require some purity of mind, you require some ability to think about something which is yourself, without being distracted by so many obsessions and beliefs and desires and anxieties, all kinds of things which we all go through, because they pull us away. All these anxieties and desires, they pull us away from this intention. So you work on getting rid of those things. And the technique, the mechanism for doing that is Karam Yoga. So I think Atul is totally right. It is about working aligned with an intention. But what is very important is, what is that intention? Because if that intention is to, like I said, get a promotion, or make some money in the stock market, or write a book or whatever, we all have those intentions. That would not be called Karam Yoga. That may still be nice, good thing to do, fine, but it's not Karam Yoga as defined by the Gita.
But I mean, I see the point, but
you can thank Bhagwan Krishna for that. You see the point.
No, but if I understand the dialogue that happened between Krishna and Arjun, isn't one interpretation that even though that dialogue was happening related to the battlefield and how he should pursue what he's there for, as a soldier, that was Karma Yoga, even though it was as mundane or as pedestrian as writing a book or making money in the stock market.
Yeah,
or
that's what I'm saying.
making
the
coffee.
Actual action doesn't matter. You could be a sweeper sweeping floors.
Yeah, but he didn't try to tell Arjun that this is how you're going to gain knowledge.
Absolutely. Arjun's intention was to gain knowledge. He said, I want knowledge. And he asked Bhagwan Krishna, why should I do all this? If all I need is knowledge, then why don't I become a sannyasi? If you remember, the first 4 questions of Arjun were, should I become a sannyasi or should I do Karma Yoga? And
Okay,
finally, Bhagwan said,
So if that's the case, if okay, I accept that. If that's the case, then my effort to go to Starbucks in the morning today could be a small step towards knowledge.
well, if knowledge is your intention, if all you're doing is auditing the class, then
No.
and you have doubts about Vedanta as a subject, your intention has to be first clear.
Yeah, but my on that topic, my intentions are higher than Vedanta.
Okay, so then
So I'm viewing Vedanta as a potential stepping stone.
I see. Okay, so then you have to
So-
define a different mechanism for Karma Yoga
Hmm.
for whatever that is. Maybe then in your, I mean, I'm probably not qualified to kind of
No,
guide
but
you.
I'm viewing it from a
suggest-
Vedantic standpoint. Again, my idea is from a Vedantic standpoint. If you're making coffee, getting coffee, making money in the stock market, going to work, repairing your car, all that as not Karma Yoga, then why not put Arjun's efforts
that is
or
not
other
Karma
people's
Yoga?
efforts in the battlefield also in the same category?
All that is Karma Yoga.
Hmm.
It's not, the question is not whether you're doing one activity or the other. The question is, what is your intention when you do it? If your intention in doing the work is the belief to make money because you know that through money you'll be happy, then it is not Karma Yoga. If your intention in doing that work is, like Sanjay said, my intention is mental purification. I want to purify myself through work. Then every mundane activity becomes Karma Yoga. Whether it is fighting a war, whether it is making money in the stock market, whatever you might do. Karma Yoga is not a particular kind of activity. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Karma Yoga is about your intention in doing the activity.
Yeah,
The
but
same activity.
isn't that a stretch? Isn't that a stretch? Because if that's the definition, then I think the only Karma Yoga I'm going to do this week is this hour and a half.
This is not, if your intention is not to gain knowledge, even this is not Karma Yoga. You're just coming here and spending time.
At best. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so you're not doing Karma Yoga if your intention is not to gain knowledge. You can call it whatever you want.
No, but knowledge about what?
Knowledge about yourself.
Yeah, but how many of us open up a can of tomato, pureed tomato, because I want to gain knowledge about myself?
Why are you worried about how many of us? We are talking about you.
I don't.
Huh?
I don't.
You don't.
When I'm opening up a coffee can, or when I'm buying a bag of pasta, I don't recall ever thinking that I'm trying to gain knowledge about myself, and therefore I'm buying pasta.
Yeah. So
And I can flip the question and sort of say, if I look back in recent memory that I have, can I point to anything which I prefaced by saying that I'm doing X because I want to gain knowledge about myself? I don't recall ever thinking that.
Yes, and that's okay. You're not. Nothing that you've done qualifies as Karma Yoga, according to the Gita, according to Vedanta, because this is not your priority. It's very clear. We've been talking about this for many weeks and months, right? As you yourself say, you're auditing this class. It's totally fine. It's just not Karma Yoga. I mean, you ask me, I'm not going to say I agree with you. Nothing I'm doing, everything I do is for self-purification. I may succeed in it or not. I may try. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I slip completely back and, lose all my perspective. Sometimes I don't. But if someone was to ask me, are you trying to do things for self-purification or not? I would say, yes, that is my goal in life. Now, how many have such a goal? I don't know, and I don't care. It makes no difference to me.
Isn't that the case of that you set that goal? It's like building a big, large shed. And then you're saying that everything that I do, everything that I have, I'm going to put under that shed. So therefore it qualifies as that. I mean, I can get up in the morning and say, it's all about self-purification and self-realization. And therefore,
yeah.
anything I do will qualify for that. I mean,
If you
is it
if
as
you
simple
say
as
that,
simply making a statement?
if you say it like that, then it will not help you. You're not. This is not something that you have to do for others, right? It's for yourself.
Yeah.
So you have to decide for yourself what you want to do. What is your goal? I'm just telling you what Gita defines as Karam Yoga. And I actually want to move on also, because otherwise we will just end up right? Because
I
I
told you,
really
you should
want
have,
to hear from the others too.
yeah, you should have stuck with my headline.
No, but it's very useful. It was good discussion, I think. Because all the things that you raise, all the doubts that you raise are there in everybody.
Yeah, that's why professors like auditors, people who audit their courses.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, we like you to be around, Atul. Just to clarify. Okay, Paula, let's
Just
move
to
on.
clarify and just to confuse.
See, if he confuses us, then that is also a
The
signal.
ultimate analysis, the two are the same.
Yeah.
I see. Paula,
I
you're on next. You got
I
difficult shoes to follow.
this is the first time I think I heard about Karami Yogi. If I heard before, I don't recall.
Okay.
And my understanding from what I hear from you guys is that Karami Yogi is the one who works only for the divine, exclusively for the divine. He's just an instrument with a no dual conscience, because he doesn't judge. Like, this is good, this is bad. It's just for the experience, something like that, or no?
No, it's I think the way very, very right. You've got the gist of it. See, we spend our time, most of our life, doing work for a lot of different reasons, for different pursuits, for different ends and objectives. Sometime in our life, we realize that's not working for us. We want something more. We want something different.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, that's the time when we start looking for, okay, what more? How do we get something which is more than just this worldly stuff around us? And Vedant has given you a technique to say, if something more is what you need, you need to have a mind which is a lot clearer, a lot cleaner. You need a mind which can get rid of a lot of your past baggage. Because when we work in this world and we live in this world, we build up baggage in our mind. We build up anxieties, we build up obsessions, because we are constantly comparing ourselves with others. We are competing with others. We are trying to make a place for ourselves in this world. All that takes a toll. And it may manifest itself in different ways in different people, but it does manifest. So when your mind is like that, with a lot of these issues in the mind, then contemplating or wanting or going for that more that we talked about, more than just what is material, like understanding yourself, for example, becomes very difficult. So Karam Yoga is a technique for cleaning up that mess in the mind. And the technique is, like you said, change your intention, change the reasons why you're doing what you're doing. Be conscious of it. Be conscious that on the one hand, while you say, I want something more, but habitually you're doing the same things for the same reasons. So for example, if Sanjay says he's a doctor and all his life, he's a big doctor, he's made a lot of money, and all his life he's been saying, I want to treat more patients, I want to make more money. I mean, it's not that black and white, but that's been his main thing. He wants to grow his business. So he charges his patients, he does things, whatever he's doing. Now, Sanjay has come to a point where he says, you know what? I want something more in life. So Karam Yoga is telling you, if Sanjay, on the one hand, when he sits in this session with us, he says, I want something more in life, and I want to achieve self-knowledge, I want to become a jnani, whatever, however he defines it. But then he goes out of this session and then he starts working in his clinic again, and again he's in that rut for making money. Then you can't achieve either, then you definitely can't achieve more that Sanjay was wanting, because he is still habitually doing the same thing. Karam Yoga says, I can't stop you from your habits. I can't stop you from thinking that you are an individual at this point. You are you will think like that. And I should not stop you from working. Working is very important. Continue to work, but now, instead of saying, I want to make this money for myself because that will make me happier, now you're ready to say, no, I will do the work and I'm doing it for the divine. Divine is just because you brought it up, so I'm bringing it up. Divine is just a tool. You call it God, you call it Ishwar. There's something bigger than yourself, whatever you believe in, whatever is easier for you. So you're doing this work for that person. So you've now moved in your mind, you've moved from doing something habitual, which is an intention by saying, I want to do this for me, I want to get richer, I want to do this. You're now consciously making an effort to say, I'll do the work, but I will remind myself I'm doing it for God. So this may seem like an artificial thing, and it is an artificial thing. It is artificial because you're forcing yourself away, and by power of will, you're saying, I'm going to do this for somebody else. But you have to start somewhere. And this is the way to start. In the beginning, when you have got a habit, when you've got an orientation, if you don't think and just be spontaneous, you'll just do the things which you've always been doing all along. If you have to change that habit towards something else, you have to make an effort of will. So Karam Yoga is an effort of will. It's an effort of will guided by knowledge. Like, for example, if I'm smoking and I have to give up smoking, there are two things that have to happen. One, I have to know conceptually that smoking is bad for me and I want to give up smoking. And second, I have to recognize that I have a habit of smoking. When I'm feeling anxious, or after I had my meal, I feel like a cigarette. So I start smoking. So I have to make a conscious effort at that time when I'm starting to smoke to remind myself, no, I should not smoke, because I know better. I know better and I have a goal. I don't want to be a smoker anymore. So you make a conscious effort of will. Karam Yoga is just like that. You have a goal, you know better. You know that my happiness and satisfaction is not going to come through money. Why do you know? Because you made money. Because you've had this life of ups and downs. You've led all this and you've learned through that there is something more that I need. This is not okay for me. If you don't have that conviction or that feeling, then of course all this is useless. Then you don't even have to talk about Vedanta. Vedanta is for someone who has that feeling already. So if you have that feeling now, the first goal is very clear. Now you got to change the habit. Because your habit is, I want to work and make money. So how do you change it? There's only one way to change it. Start small and use your willpower. There is no other way to change it from a habit perspective. Just pure knowledge is not going to change a habit. You need knowledge plus will. That's Karam Yoga. So it's not, so what is the mechanism? It's a mechanism which has been given to you. You got to first understand the mechanism, then see whether it makes sense for you. If it makes sense for you, follow it. The mechanism that has been given is defined as having a clear goal, a clear intention. So that goal, you need that clarity. Then it says, in order for you to give up this thing about, I'm doing it for myself, it's hard for you to say, I'm doing it because I want Antakarna Shuddhi, or because I'm doing it because I know because who am I? I'm just an individual. Actually speaking, I'm Brahman. So it doesn't matter. So intermediate, your step is okay to say, okay, I'm doing it for the divine. because a lot of people have that faith in the divine. They have that relationship in the divine. They find it easy. It's a small step to say everything I'm doing is for God. They're already kind of there. They just, it's much easier. So leverage that. Whatever you can leverage in your life. You want to say, I want to do it as service to others. If that's something which is you're passionate about, leverage that. You want to do it for your parents, for your children, whatever you can find which takes you away from this me, I'm doing it for me, that kind of thing. Use it. It's a technique.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what Karam Yoga means. I'm trying to keep an eye on the watch as well, because the two more people are left. Kiki and Mukta are left. I'm not going to let them off the hook. Kiki, anything?
Thank you.
Sorry, Bola, you had a question?
No, I don't have a question. I think that's a good mechanism to detachment and to do not be judgmental.
Yes, that's very good. Yeah, I mean, all the things that you know better, all the things that if you think about it, you take a step back, this is right for me, or this is the right thing to do. I don't want to be judgmental. But then you are being judgmental in life, let's say, then being mindful of it and trying to catch yourself when you're being judgmental and saying, okay, I'm going to bring God into the picture or divine into the picture. And I'll say, this is not, everybody is created by God. Who am I to judge? Right?
Yeah.
Bring that thought in there, and slowly over time, your orientation will change.
Actually, everybody's God, right?
Everybody's God, yeah. See, that, right? Because that, and when we talked about it as Vedanta, it struck you immediately got drawn to the idea because somewhere you know it. But knowing it and being it, or acting on it, are two different things, unfortunately. So this part is more, how do I work on my mind, on my habits, which have the mind of their own. My mind has a mind of its own. It doesn't listen to my brain.
A simple equation. From Karam, take away I, me, and your ego. It becomes Karam Yoga.
From Karam, take away. Okay, I, me, and ego being the
I,
same thing.
me, and your ego.
Okay. Yeah. but it is hard to do straight away. So what they're saying is,
it has to be a gradual thing. It has to be a
So
gradual
use God or divine as a means, as a step to say, okay, I will do this for God. I will leave it, like you only said, Ishwar Arpan Buddhi and Ishwar Prasad Buddhi. So yeah. Okay, Kiki.
So for me, I think my larger framework of self-knowledge, that has sort of been the bottom line in my life for years. And I understand where Karma Yoga falls into that, because it's very clear that Karma Yoga is to make your mind available for the knowledge. So my bottom line is knowledge. I understand how Karma Yoga is a tool for making space in my head available for that knowledge. The thing that has not worked for me probably is that because my understanding of Ishwar is not complete, the Ishwar Arpan Buddhi and Prasad Buddhi for me are not complete, but it almost doesn't matter, because it's very clear that if I engage in something that is not in the final aim of self-knowledge, then I'm going to get drawn and confused in that, and I don't want that. I don't, if I have anxiety about something, if I have stress about something, or if I say, okay, I don't want to do this because it's not what I want right now. For instance, I want to go to New York right now. Let's say I'm not able to go. at that point, I can think, this is God's will, which doesn't quite work for me because that is not very clear for me. But what is very clear for me is if I keep thinking about what I don't get, then I don't have the brain to think about what I really want to think about, which is self-knowledge. So probably Karma Yoga doesn't work for me in quite the conventional way, but it does make sense to me. So
Yeah, but for you, like you said, the intention is self-knowledge. So
yeah,
that is all that really matters.
that is completely clear cut, and so there's no
Nothing else.
there's no
The
confusion.
rest of
about
it,
that.
you'll find
The
your own
rest of it,
decision
sometimes
where
it just because that intention is clear, the rest of it, sometimes there is confusion. Like you said, sometimes there's more confusion, sometimes there's less confusion, but somehow things get aligned according to that.
Yeah. Okay. Mukta?
Well, what I understand is whatever we are doing every day, like Atul was saying, opening a can of tomatoes or anything, any work that we are doing, I think that is what we classify as karma. That's not karam yoga, but generally whatever work we do is karma, which goes into that karma bank of good karma or bad karma. But once you start with that intention of doing it as karam yoga to me is again the same what Sanjay had said, that intention that whatever we are doing, it is for the divine, जो ईश्वर अर्पण वाली बात है, and whatever the fruits are also, that's the prasad. So ultimately I agree with Sanjay there, and of course I understand I have understood that in the morning I get up and I whatever activities I do, I try to, I am not always being able to do it, but I try to think that whatever I am doing is for the divine, it's as the divine will, and it is arpit to the divine, and whatever the fruits are, that's the God's grace. That's what I believe is karam yoga, and the difference between karma and karam yoga.
Yes. Yeah. And do you find when you're doing it, does it help you? Does it help you to think like that? Does it make you more peaceful, more
Yeah,
contented?
it reduces your anxiety levels for doing anything. It reduces, and it like, why do I do it? Why have I started doing it? That's again the same thing that you said, that what Nidhi also said, that it's the intention, that self-awareness for the cause of self-realization or self-awareness, or trying to know myself. And I have understood that this is one of the steps which you do to clear up your mind and go on that spiritual path to be doing that karam yoga. Whatever you're doing should be a kind of karam yoga. That's what I've understood.
And to Atul's, one more thing I can add to that. To Atul's point of being spontaneous, this whole thing, everything that we're doing, whether it's karam yoga, nidhi dhyasana, shravanam, mananam, all these sadhanas, all these things, we as a Vedanta student do it through willpower, but a jnani does it spontaneously. In other words, for us, we have to make an effort to say, I have got this habit of thinking that this is what I need to do to be happy, and I have to make an effort of will at this point to do something differently, to not have that anxiety which you talked about, right? By not identifying myself with the results or with the activities too much. For a jnani, it's natural. It's not as if you started doing karam yoga and one day you'll have a pure mind and you can stop doing karam yoga. It's not like
No,
that.
no.
You started doing Karam Yoga with a lot of effort. Over time, that effort is just going to go
Yes.
down and down and down. It's just going to be
And
natural.
that effort is still on. It's not that I do it spontaneously or anything. It's
No,
just
no, I understood.
I'm taking an effort to do it.
Correct. But I'm saying over time that effort will actually, you'll find it's like doing exercise, right? In the beginning, you can only do this much, and then slowly that becomes your new normal. Karam Yoga becomes your new normal. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not, and the reason why it is the new normal is because it's a description of the way things are. Actually, in reality, my ego or me does not do the work. It is not, we are saying it as an ideal. This is the reality. Work gets done, and then our ego as a thought comes up later and associates ourselves with the work. And we get a cognition in our mind saying, oh, I did this. It's my effort. It's my my skill which did it. It doesn't work like that. And when we realize that work gets done because we are part of a system, and we've been given certain things, this body has been given certain things, abilities and shortcomings, etc., which are getting the work. As a result of all of that system working together, work is getting done. Once you realize that, and you realize that I don't have to attach myself with that work in order for it to get done, you are a spontaneous Karam Yogi. You are a Jnani. You are Gyan Karam Sannyasi, according to Gita. That is what Gita's central message is. This assignation of my ego with the activity is what's called, what did he call it? You're mohit. You're like confused. It's mudam. You're like it's a result of confusion. And Karam Yoga, in the beginning, you feel like, okay, I'm trying to force myself away, but the reason it works is because you're forcing yourself away to something which is actually the truth. Anyway,
How are you forcing yourself? How is will going to work in that framework? If work is getting done and the assignation is to the ego later, will implies ego, right? Will implies that you are that is the precursor to doing the work.
So we know, because what Gita is saying is that you are in the habit of assigning your ego to a result. So
and
now
so stay with that habit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So assign your ego in a different way. Assign your ego to an effort that I'm not going to assign my ego. Right? Because if you don't, otherwise I'll tell you, you will never we are all dealing in reality. Brahman is what you are. Brahman, there is no doubt about it. It's your mind which we are trying to give knowledge to, right? So your mind right now cannot function with the idea that everything will happen by itself. The mind says, I need to make an effort. So that is why. So it's as Shankar says, we are using a thorn to take out another thorn. We are using our mind to clean our mind because we have no other means. So no,
Okay,
at this point,
one small question.
Huh? Yeah.
One small question. How can we convert our daily activities, our daily mundane activities into Karam Yoga?
By being aware when you're doing those activities of your knowledge. By being aware, like not doing your activities, it all comes down to the same thing, Sanjay. At the end of the day, they are saying, don't do your activities just as a force of habit. Have that awareness and it won't happen for everything, not when you're making tea, for instance, but anything which is major, which has impact or consequence for you. Try to bring your knowledge into that. So your knowledge is that you are Brahman, that your happiness doesn't depend upon the result of this activity. That knowledge you have, your happiness is in you, it's there. Right?
नहीं, डेली एक्टिविटीज में तो हैप्पीनेस या उसपे नहीं, जैसे अब हमने वो है कुकिंग करनी है, या जैसे ये जो opening a tin can or making pasta, in all these activities can we bring Karam Yoga into the picture?
So if you're doing all these activities with awareness, जैसे कहते हैं ना, mindful awareness, right?
Yeah. Do we call it Sakshi Bhav?
Sakshi Bhav, or you can call it Sakshi Bhav, you can call it
Yes.
awareness, you can call it, bringing
Now
forth your
you have to
knowledge.
explain what is Sakshi Bhav.
So you can explain also what Sakshi Bhav is.
I have just come across कि
Sakshi Bhav means knowing that you're a witness. Thinking yourself.
You have to do everything in that Sakshi Bhav so that every karma of yours becomes a Karam Yoga.
Right.
Last few days I've heard a few lectures on this.
Okay.
How to make each and every activity into a Karam Yoga. So all these people are emphasizing that you have to lead your life as a Sakshi, as a witness, and not as a doer or anything. And you have to observe yourself doing all these activities if you have to go deeper inside.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's like, we have to understand the spirit of what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
It's not as if it may not be possible to do that all the time for every activity right now. But when it is...
But you have to just create that habit of doing. Do it for a few minutes every day, not in all the activities, but try doing it. So it makes your mind more calmer and peaceful, and there's a lot of fulfillment in every job you do.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, there's nothing to... There's no argument with that. Because then you're...
So I think next time we should have a lecture on Sakshi Bhav from you.
No.
I think it's a big topic.
Is another technique, right? It's like...
It's another technique.
Just like I was saying, give it to God. So if a person who has very close faith in God, for whom God is very important, for him, giving it to God is easier to think like that than Sakshi Bhav. They might say, okay, I'm doing it for God. For someone who's not thinking about God all the time, not big in his or her life, for them Sakshi Bhav is a technique. Correct? So whichever way you want to go about it, the important point is being aware and having the intention very clear, having the knowledge very clear. That's the important point. So, according to Vedanta, every action that you do will create some samskar. It will create some impact. So everything that we do will create some effect on our mind. There will be a good effect and there will be a bad effect. Karam Yoga is a way to minimize the negative impact on your mind. So that the action you're doing is not going to cause you more anxiety down the line. Because the problem comes because we assume ownership of everything. That's what brings anxiety. That's what brings, problems. So Karma Yoga means trying to do something with this awareness that I'm not the owner. So you can say I'm not the owner by saying I'm a Sakshi. Okay, so you're not the owner because you're a witness. Or you can say God is the owner. So you're not the owner because God is the owner. Or you can find your own way, whichever way you want to find. But doing actions mindfully is the idea. That's the whole idea.
But doing actions mindfully is not under the category of, that is not how Karam Yoga is defined, right? And actually, I also have a question, which is, does Karam Yoga work for somebody who certainly doesn't have enough knowledge and also is an atheist? Let's say they don't believe in God.
No, I don't think atheism has anything to do with it. It just makes it easier.
So does Karam Yoga work for anyone who doesn't believe in God?
Yeah, why not? I mean, absolutely.
What Ishwar do you do your Arpan to, and where do you?
That's what I'm saying. So the technique of Ishwar Arpan Buddhi may not work for a person who doesn't believe in God. that person may be more attracted to something like what Sanjay is saying, be a witness. Think of
Yeah,
yourself as a witness, right?
Yeah.
So the technique may be different, but
But I'm just saying that technique is not what we call Karam Yoga, right? That is a technique, but
Yeah.
that is not what Gita calls Karam Yoga, right?
No, that's what I was saying. When Gita talks about Karam Yoga, it puts everything in the umbrella of Karam Yoga.
Okay.
And it brings forth many different techniques. In different chapters, it talks about different ways. It even brings meditation under the umbrella of Karam Yoga.
So Sakshitvam is also Karam Yoga.
Doing action without with the knowledge, with awareness that you are not the doer,
Yeah.
is Karam Yoga.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and a way to get there, which Gita has really emphasized, is Bhagwan Krishna saying, not only is he saying think about Ishwar, he's saying think about me, Maya. give everything to me. He's telling Arjun, to mere pav mein rakh. Like, think about me. Those people who think about me and who come to me and all that. So he is personalizing Ishwar completely and saying, I'm in front of you.
Right. As a way to
he's
dissolve
personalizing it to that extent.
Yeah.
And a lot of religions like ISKCON and all, they've taken those statements because Bhagwan Krishna says, anybody who comes to me, मैं उसकी बेड़ी पार कर दूंगा. I will make him cross the ocean of sorrow. So anybody who comes to me. So you can take that statement in isolation, and ISKCON has taken that statement in isolation, and they've said liberation is about Bhagwan Krishna. The Krishna Consciousness Society. So you could, Gita is so precise in Bhagwan saying, give everything to me. I am the one who's doing everything, and I will show you how, and I will show you all these, he had that Divya Chashu Buddhi and all that. He showed Arjun what the world is from his perspective, how he creates everything and how he destroys everything. So Bhagwan Krishna, one of the reasons why Gita is so popular is because they have personified Bhagwan in a very, very precise, very specific way. And Krishna Bhagwan is the Bhagwan, and he has avatars, and he comes down to earth, and that kind of thing. So so Gita does emphasize that you have to believe in me as Ishwar, but then it's up to us to understand that when Bhagwan says me, he is not meaning me as just this Krishna Bhagwan, he is meaning me as Ishwar. And then you can go further back and say, when you say Ishwar, it's not meaning me as Ishwar as another person, but you as Ishwar. You and Ishwar and everything are the same thing. So when you say Sakshi Bhav, you're saying you are Ishwar. You're saying what I am is a Sakshi. What does it mean? I'm the Ishwar. I'm not the doer. I'm not the individual who's doing the work. Somebody is lifting their hands and doing the work, right? So you're saying I'm not that person. I'm a Sakshi, which is like one small step removed from saying I'm Ishwar. I'm even the Sakshi of the Sakshi, so to say. So you're going directly there. That's very hard for many people to say, I'm a Sakshi. They'll say, how's the work being done? So to them, you can say, the work is being done by God, by Ishwar. That is a little easier to understand. Not maybe for Atul, or even for Kiki, or for me, or even for you, but for a lot of people. When you have a faith in God, that makes it a lot easier, because ultimately you're just trying to detach your ego, as you said, Sanjay. You're trying to detach the ego from the karma. So you got to conceptually understand this. Why is it that you are not the doer? Why is it that this universe as a whole is the doer? So first you have to conceptually understand it. You have to have clarity on that. So that is one path. That path is the path of Gyan Yoga. That is the Gyan. And then you have to, whatever that clarity that you've got in your head, when you think about it, you have to bring it to your behavior. That is Karma Yoga. So the two have to work together. Otherwise, you will run the danger of just trying to understand everything conceptually and live in your own conceptual world, but nothing will change on the ground for you. Conversely, if you're trying to just use your willpower to become a better yogi, do more things, do things differently, you will run the risk of being an automaton. You will, you will, at some stage, you're going to just get tired and say, what am I expending all this effort for? I'm done. This is not going anywhere. This is not reaching anywhere. At some stage, you'll say, I've been practicing all my life, like Hamare Guruji hai na, Dayanand Saraswati, he wrote in his book, and Carol used to tell us, he used to say, I meditated till I started losing my hair, until my hair turned gray. Then he gave up. He said, I'm done with meditation because I've just been meditating so much, with so much discipline and so much intensity, but I'm still where I was. Nothing has changed. So, because the change is only knowledge, the change is only orientation. So that is how the two things work together, the Karam Yoga, which you define Karam Yoga, and knowledge. So if you're just doing Karam Yoga and this knowledge is not there, that means the intention is not there, then it's not Karam Yoga. And if you're just doing knowledge, and the karma is not there, then it is not Vedanta. Then it's a philosopher sitting back in his chair and, dreaming up stuff. It's not, because it's not impacting your real life, your day-to-day life. Right?
Very nice, Nitya.
Okay. So Karam Yoga is a good thing, because Sanjay, I asked you this question because I feel like, actually, Krishna Bhagwan said this in chapter 2, right at the beginning. He told Arjun, he said, not a iota of work that you do on the path of Karam Yoga is ever wasted. Don't think that you will do this and if you don't follow through, it's all gone to waste. Because उसको उन्होंने पूछा था अर्जुन ने, उन्होंने कहा it's like जो cloud होता है ना, जो कभी clouds होते हैं, उनमें कभी a small cloud detaches itself and kind of gets lost. So he said, I'm afraid that I will follow this path, I will not be able to complete it, I will be like that little cloud which has not detached itself from the big main cloud, and it doesn't know what to do. It's just lost in the sky. It's like neither this way nor that way, like caught in the middle. And that's when Krishna Bhagavan told him, he said, nothing that you do will be wasted on Karam Yoga. Because for two reasons. One, you've set in a direction, you are going in that direction. There's no turning back. There may be delays, there may be, obstructions, there may be diversions, but there's no turning back. And second, everything you do in Karam Yoga, it actually brings you benefit and contentment right there and then. That's why I asked you this question, Sanjay. You will feel, Mukta, I was asking. You will feel the benefit of this Karam Yoga thing right now. You will see a reduction in anxiety right now. And you will see, you'll sleep more peacefully right now. Because, so this happiness is not something which comes when you become a jnani and, suddenly you have enlightenment and suddenly you're a different person. You become different along the way. You will see the difference in yourself. People around you will see the difference in yourself. It's not, and actually I'm telling you, even if you look at yourself for the last 1 year, even through these little casual conversations which we are having, you would see that there's a difference in you. Even Atul, who's auditing the class. Yeah, Bhoti Master? Atul, come on, anything you want to say? Last words?
Last word.
But now we have to audit. Atul is better off with Vedanta or with Paula?
No. Atul with Paula will be getting better with Vedanta. With Vedanta, Atul will become better with Paula. But we are not going to let Atul go. I think even if he's just auditing, I think we are going to. One thing is if Paula is there, then Atul won't go anywhere.
The advantage of auditing is you never graduate.
You never graduate. So, but you have to attend all the classes.
So the rest of you might get your A's and B's and move on. But मैं तो W लेके बैठा हूँ.
So
Then not W, whatever the grade is for.
providers.
You know, W is for withdrawal.
No, you are forever F.
And today I would need to leave now because I have to take the little boy to the scouts.
You have to do your Karam yoga.
I
Yeah.
have to do my Karam yoga.
Yes, please go for it.
Thank
Okay.
you very much. Until
Okay.
Saturday.
Bye,
Wonderful
guys.
Saturday.
Bye, Paula.
This is love.
Bye-bye.
Take care of yourself. Bye bye.